Today we're talking about the brainchild of Don't Nod Entertainment, in fact their very first game. Today we're talking about Remember Me. Now Remember Me, I believe, personally, is a game that had great promise, and yet I don't believe it quite met that high point. But we're about to find out. Let's get things started with the gameplay. Now the gimmick of this game was altering minds. It could have been used as an amazing gameplay mechanic where you could have altered the memory of a guard to stop chasing you or something like that. However, all it really amounts to is basically spinning your sticks in the only 4 sections that feature this mechanic. Platforming can be somewhat of an issue with a clunky camera, however, personally I haven't noticed much problem with it. Some have said it has less than fluid controls, but it appears to me, at least, to move rather fluid. I wouldn't say it's, Assassin's Creed or Uncharted levels of fluidity, but I wouldn't say it's terrible either. The fighting system is an idea that I consider a good idea, but somewhat poorly put in. You have a certain number of moves, and you can stack these moves to make longer combos. However, battles can be so intense you rarely build much of a combo. It's not anything against the game itself. Having intense combat is what you want in a third-person action game. The game does have some fantastic puzzle sections that really show off the great fun this game could have been had there been more like this and less of the tedious parts of the game, which there are a few areas. Overall, the gameplay for this game earns a 7 out of 10. They had great ideas, and honestly, I think they should have been a little more polished than what we saw. Next up, we'll take a look at the soundtrack. Now, the music really fits the mood the game is going for. That's always a plus for me. The failing factor here is the voice acting. Now, Neilin herself is voiced great, and you can really feel the emotion in her voice. However, even her quips get old, and the other voices remind me way too much of Duke Nukem, and in a bad way. The sounds are in a 6 out of 10 here. Honestly, the music is fantastic, but the terrible voice acting makes you think they were making 2 different games. One that was a deep and involving narrative, and the other was a cheese-fest Schwarzenegger flick, and they really don't mesh that great together. Next up, let's take a look at the graphics. Now, the graphics are good, but some textures can appear wavy and a little bit blocky at some points. This gives it a unique look, admittedly, but I haven't seen many futuristic versions of Paris thus far, so the setting is at least new. It's fun and inventive. However, I will say the icon on the back of people's heads really should have been something a little more realistic. Instead of this cartoony looking thing, it just seems to take out any of the seriousness from this thing. I'm not saying everything that has something in the back of a person's head has to be the Matrix, but it couldn't hurt. Overall, I give the graphics an 8 out of 10. It's fantastic done. If not for little back thingy. Next up, we'll take a look at the story. Now, you play as Neilin, a memory hunter looking to reclaim her lost identity. In fact, the first 2 cutscenes could not be more different from one another. The first thing you see is actually a commercial for the Sing Sing, which is what's on your back of your head. This allows you to upload your memories onto a computer, so that no matter how old you get, you can always just get them put back in, and now you have all of your memories back. Now, Neilin is looking to find her lost memory, which we see them taking at the very next cutscene. It goes from happy and smiley to, oh my god, what the fuck is happening, in about 3 seconds. This could have really set a tone. Neilin is a really fun hero, and in fact, she reminds me of a cross between Ellen Ripley and Sarah Connor. She could be, if they take this to be a franchise, a really great female action hero, which there admittedly aren't many of. The story asks a lot of really big questions. What is the nature of memory? And it seems to be making a great allegory to the risk of putting too much of ourselves on the net. The story earns a 7 out of 10. The story is good, but needed more focus and less cheesy one-liners to make the story hit as hard as they wanted to. Finally, let's take a look at customer care. This was the first game from developer Don't Nod Entertainment, and I do think the studio shows promise. I think this game was too much for their first outing. It could have been much more polished if it was in a better developer's hands. If you watched my earlier video on women in gaming, you'll know the developer had to fight hard to even get this game made. So in a way, I applaud this company for fighting for something against the norm. However, you have to be able to back that up with a game worth fighting for. Overall, I give customer care a 7 out of 10. I believe that they fought the hard fight, but I feel like they really should have spent a little more time polishing the game if they were going to fight so hard. Overall, this game earns a 35 out of 50. It's a good game. More than that, it's an above average game. I really think you'll enjoy it. However, I will say, based off the hype, I would lower your expectations only slightly. That's it for this game. For more games or anything else gamer related, please subscribe. And for anything else you need, more than the YouTube, please head to holdtheline.com. Until next time, my name is Vega Goose saying, that's my opinion, what's yours? I'll see you next time.